Authorities are investigating the death of Eileen Cherotich, a 22-year-old second-year business student at the Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology.
Now, Cherotich died after she was allegedly thrown from a moving vehicle following an altercation with her boyfriend.
They were having a drinking spree at a certain pub in Nairobi, sorry, in Nakuru. So as they were going back, the deceased and his boyfriend had an argument inside the car. And all of a sudden, nobody knows what happened. The deceased was out of the vehicle. Whether she was thrown, whether she jumped on her own, we are not yet established. And so far, we have the owner of the car and one of the girls who were in that vehicle.
Na tunataka haki ya wanafunzi wetu. Na ninawaomba tutulie na tungoje wafanye hiyo investigation wamefanya. So far watu wawili wameshikwa na pia watu wanne bado wanatafutwa. Na hiyo gari ilitumika iko police station Kaptembwa, ndio huko ndio nimetokea sasa.
The first thing people noticed was her hair. Perfectly done, fresh from the salon, not a strand out of place. She was lying beside a dark stretch of highway outside Nakuru. Her body still, the night air moving quietly around her. Just hours earlier, she had been laughing with friends in town. A normal Saturday. Music, conversation, a night out. But somewhere between that laughter and that lonely road, a car door opened. And Eileen Cherotich was pushed out of a moving vehicle. She was only 22 years old, a girl from a village in Bomet County who had waited 4 years just for the chance to go to college. A church raised money for her education. An entire community believed in her future. But on the night of July 13th, 2024, that future ended on the tarmac. And the people inside that car would later claim something unbelievable. They said she jumped. To understand how a promising young student ended up dead on a highway, we have to go back to a small village in Bomet County, where her story began. Dark Echoes 254. Ngainet Village, Soimet location, Bomet County. Picture a small, quiet, rural community tucked in a Kenya's Rift Valley. The kind of place where everyone knows everyone, where the church is the heartbeat of the community, and where a girl's future depends not just on her own dreams, but on the generosity of those around her. This is where Eileen Cherotich had been born and raised. She was 22 years old, soft-spoken, hardworking, humble, the kind of young women who didn't ask for much. She just wanted a chance. But chances don't come easy when your family has nothing. After finishing her KCSE, Eileen watched her peers pack their bags and leave for college. She stayed behind. 1 year passed, then 2, then 3, then 4 whole years of waiting. Not because she lacked the grades, not because she lacked the will, but because her family simply could not afford to send her. 4 years at home, watching her dreams sit just out of reach. Then something remarkable happened. The African Inland Church, AIC, in Bomet County saw this young woman's potential and refused to let it go to waste. The congregation came together and spearheaded a fundraising campaign, pooling their resources so that Eileen could finally walk through the doors of a university. Pastor Bernard Ngeno of Soinet AIC would later recall the church members hoped that she would return home after college and help turn the family fortunes around. This wasn't just a donation. This was an entire community saying, "We believe in you. We are sending you. Come back and make us proud." And so, armed with the prayers, the hope, and hard-earned money of her church family, Eileen Cherotich finally left for Nakuru. She enrolled at the Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology to study human resources. Second year, halfway through, so close to the finish line. She found a small place to stay at Kabasi's Center, close to campus. She was doing it. Against every odd, she was actually doing it. Kabasi's Center is the kind of neighborhood where students and local mix. Small shops, food stalls, the hum of everyday life. It was here, somewhere between the lecture halls and her daily routine, that Eileen met Eric. He wasn't a fellow student. He was a butchery attendant, a working man at one of the local shops or at Kabasi's center, older, employed, present. For a young woman living alone, far from home, in a new town, someone like Eric could have felt like an anchor, familiar, consistent. Students at Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology would later speak of a troubling pattern they had witnessed. Older men from the area targeting female students from humble background, using their relative financial stability to pull these young women into their orbit. Eileen, it seemed, had become caught in exactly that web. They began dating. A year and 5 months would pass, but from the very beginning, something was off. The relationship was frequently marked by conflicts, arguments that came and went, tension that never fully resolved, a push and a pull that those close to Eileen could see, even if they didn't know what to do about it. By July 2024, the relationship had reached a breaking point. The two were no longer on speaking terms. On Saturday, July 13th, 2024, it started as an ordinary evening. Eileen had left her house at Kabasi's earlier that day and made her way into Nakuru city center. She was getting her hair done, something normal. She wasn't thinking about Eric. She wasn't thinking about the arguments. She was just living her Saturday. Then her phone rang. It was Brenda. Brenda had a plan. She had watched her friend and Eric go back and forth for too long. The tension, the silence, the unresolved conflict between them. She genuinely believed that if she could just get them in the same room, in a relaxed setting, things could be fixed. Brenda had organized the night out specifically to try and help the two reconcile. In her mind, she was doing her friend a favor. So Eileen, fresh from the salon, hair done, said yes. The group made their way to Platinum 7D, an entertainment joint in Nakuru City. But what Brenda hoped would be a night of reconciliation quickly became something else entirely. The tension between Eileen and Eric didn't melt away under the music and the lights. It got worse. Whatever that had been simmering between them for months rose to the surface. The very wounds Brenda hoped to heal that night were torn open, wider instead. The evening that was supposed to bring them back together only pushed them further apart. And then it was time to go home. Inside a moving vehicle on a dark Nakuru road with the argument still raging, Eileen Cherotich was pushed out of a moving vehicle. Her head hit the tarmac, and just like that, it was over. She had only gone out to get her hair done. On Sunday, July 14th, 2024, the next day, Nakuru was waking up. Churches were filling, and somewhere along the Nakuru-Eldoret Highway, near the ever-ready roundabout, a body was found. It took a moment for people to realize who she was. A young woman, well-dressed, hair freshly done. It was Eileen. When the pathologist's report came back, it confirmed what the scene had already suggested. This was not an accident. This was violence. Government pathologist Dr. Titus Ngulungu conducted the autopsy and found that Eileen had died of a skull fracture on the forehead. She had bruises all over her back and legs. Also, there was a crack on her skull. It looked like she must have been in a lot of pain at the point of her death. This was a young woman who had survived poverty, survived 4 years of waiting, survived the odds, only to spend her final moments in agony on a dark Kenyan road, thrown from a moving vehicle by the man she had been dating for over a year. Back at Kabasi Center, where Eileen had built her small student life, the people who had been in that car began to talk. But their story didn't add up. Joseph, one of the men in the vehicle, had hidden his car, switched off his phone, and began coaching the others on what to tell the police. The story they settled on was that Eileen had jumped out of the car during an argument. She jumped. That a young woman, on her way home from a night out, hair freshly done, decided to open a car door and throw herself onto a moving highway in the middle of the night. Of course, nobody believed it. 2 of those present were taken into police custody, but Eric, the boyfriend, the man at the center of it all, the man the relationship had been built around for a year and 5 months, he fled. He disappeared into the night and was nowhere to be found. Back at Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology, Eileen's classmates received the news in disbelief. Her student president, Shadrach Langat, who had described her as hardworking and humble, now had to speak about her in the past tense. Students stormed business premises belonging to the prime suspect. They spilled onto the streets and blocked the Nakuru-Eldoret Highway, the road where the classmate had taken her last breath, demanding justice. They were angry. They were heartbroken. Fellow students raised concern about a deeply troubling pattern. Older men from the surrounding area who had made a habit of targeting female students from the college, particularly those from humble backgrounds, girls who were far from home, girls who were alone, girls who were vulnerable. Eileen, they said, was not the first to be pulled into that world. She was just one who didn't survive it. And then, hundreds of kilometers away in Bomet County, in a small home in Gainet village, a mother got a call that no mother should ever receive. Agnes Cherotich had sacrificed everything for her daughter. She had watched her sit at home for 4 years. She had wept the gratitude when the church raised money to send her to school. She had prayed every day for Eileen to finish, come home, and turn their lives around. Instead, she was being asked to come and identify a body. Agnes stood before the cameras with a quiet, devastating dignity of a mother. Her words were simple. "We have heard many stories about the circumstances of our daughter's death, but we want to state clearly, our position is that she was murdered, and we want the police to get to the bottom of it." In Kenya, almost every week, a woman is killed by someone who claimed to love her. Most of the names we never learn. We learned Eileen's. Now the question is, what are we going to do about it?